We had conversations about sometimes certain things get so big that
Pause.
you almost pause. God damn. I quit though. I quit.
That was crazy.
No, it was crazy.
The energy around Let's Rap About It has completely shifted over the past few months. And right now, everybody is asking the same question. Is Maino about to walk away from the podcast for good? Look, this isn't coming from nowhere. The signs have been building up week after week, and the situation around Jim Jones keeps getting messier by the day. Between the 50 Cent beef escalating, the Cam'ron footage dropping, and that whole warehouse disaster going viral, people close to the situation are saying Maino is seriously reconsidering his position. And honestly, who could blame him at this point? The man has built his reputation on being solid, being dependable, and moving with a certain level of professionalism that a lot of people in this industry don't have. So watching him get dragged into nonstop controversy that has absolutely nothing to do with him personally has to be frustrating beyond belief. Before we get deep into this, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe if you're new here. Hit the notification bell too, because this story is still developing and you're going to want to stay updated.
That was crazy, bro. But what are you talking about? This is a talk show. We have a live audience and you wilding in here, bro.
It's Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Yeah,
Listen.
I knew it.
What?
No,
I didn't say it, bro.
No, listen.
Now let's break down exactly what's happening and why 2025 might be the end of an era for the Lobby Boys. To understand where we are now, you have to understand how we got here. Let's Rap About It started as a solid platform. Maino and Jim Jones sitting down with artists, having real conversations, keeping it street but professional. The chemistry worked. Two veteran New York rappers with real history in the game building something outside of music. That formula was clicking for a while. They had good guests coming through, the clips were getting views, and people were tuning in consistently. The podcast gave both of them a second wind in the industry. Instead of just being remembered for their music from years ago, they were staying relevant by creating content that people actually wanted to watch. That's not easy to do, and they deserve credit for making it work as long as they did. But somewhere along the line, the podcast stopped being about the content and started being about the controversy surrounding one of its hosts. And that's where the problems really began.
Your beef made mine?
Pause. Yo, that's crazy, bro. Yo.
I quit the show, man.
Yo, bro. What the fuck? I'm gonna take my jacket off now because this shit is getting nasty. What the fuck? Pepper shit is rose. Yo, bro,
This is crazy, man.
The turning point that most people point to is when Jim Jones decided to publicly criticize 50 Cent's documentary about Diddy. That single decision opened up a door that Jim clearly wasn't prepared to walk through. Before that moment, 50 Cent and Jim weren't actively going at each other. There was history between them, obviously. Old tension from the G-Unit and Dipset days, but nothing active, nothing current. They had basically moved on with their lives and their careers. The second Jim spoke on that documentary, everything changed. And if you know anything about 50 Cent, you know exactly how this was going to play out. The man built his entire brand on being petty and relentless. He doesn't just respond to disrespect, he dismantles people systematically. He finds every weak spot and presses on it repeatedly until there's nothing left to press. That's been his playbook since the beginning of his career, and he hasn't changed at all. That's exactly what's been happening to Jim Jones for the past several weeks, and the collateral damage is spreading to everyone around him. People who had nothing to do with the original situation are now finding themselves mentioned in posts and comments and discussions just because they're associated with Jim. Now here's where Maino's situation gets complicated. When you're in business with someone and that person becomes a liability, you have decisions to make. Maino has spent years building a reputation as someone who moves smart and handles his business properly. He stayed relatively controversy-free compared to a lot of his peers. His name rings in the streets, but it also rings in boardrooms.
Calling Jim Jones right now, this bitch ain't answering. We go back to the gym right now. Right now, you know I just left the gym. We go back to the gym right now, I smoke. Pick up your FaceTime, bitch.
That balance took years to build, and it's not something you can easily replace once it's damaged. So what happens when your business partner keeps making that balance harder to maintain? What do you do when every time you check social media, there's a new story or a new clip or a new situation that puts your whole operation in a negative light? The warehouse situation alone would have been enough to make most people reconsider. For those who missed it, footage surfaced showing Jim Jones giving a tour of a building that was supposed to be this big creator space or content hub. The problem was the heat wasn't on. People were literally inside a freezing building while Jim was talking about future plans and development. You could see breath in the air while he's describing all these grand visions for what the space was going to become. Reports started circulating that the heat was off because of unpaid bills, and then more footage dropped showing Jim outside arguing with what appeared to be the landlord about the situation. The confrontation looked heated, and it played out right there for cameras to capture. That visual is hard to spin. You're pushing 50 years old, presenting yourself as a boss and a businessman, but you're outside in the cold having a confrontation over basic utilities. How does that look to potential partners? How does that look to sponsors? How does that look to anyone considering doing business with anyone associated with that situation?
Check this out. Sometimes, like, when dudes that you paying, it's like I'm building a relationship with the people that you paying, and they got arms, they got the license. Sometimes I get into a mode with a nigga.
The optics were terrible, and the internet ran with it immediately. Maino had to watch all of this unfold publicly, and the internet wasn't quiet about connecting dots. People started tagging him in posts asking if he knew about the situation. Comments were flooding in, questioning whether he was still involved with the podcast. The questions kept coming and coming. Then came the Cam'ron and Freekey Zekey involvement, which took everything to another level entirely. Old footage started resurfacing. Situations that happened years ago suddenly had new eyes on them. Things that had been kept quiet out of respect, or just because nobody cared enough to dig them up, were now being shared everywhere. The clip with Dame Dash in particular got a lot of attention because it showed a side of Jim that didn't match the tough talk he puts out regularly. In that footage, Dame Dash is calling for a one-on-one fade, keeping it traditional, and Jim appears to rely on other people around him instead of handling it directly. Now look, everybody has their own way of dealing with situations, but when your whole image is built on being thorough and being ready for whatever, footage like that raises questions. Dame is known to box and train consistently.
Even with all the beef?
The beef?
We've been having a lot of drama lately.
You've been having a lot of drama.
Oh, shit.
So people started asking why Jim wouldn't just take the fair one if he's really like that. That clip did damage, real damage. The kind of damage that doesn't go away because you post something hard on Instagram the next day. People saw what they saw, and they're going to remember it every single time Jim says something tough in the future. And this is the environment Maino is navigating right now. Every week there's something new. Every few days another clip drops, or another comment surfaces, or another situation develops. It's exhausting just watching it from the outside. So imagine being directly connected to it professionally. Imagine having to answer questions about someone else's beef constantly. What makes this worse is how 50 Cent and Cam'ron operate. These are two of the most calculated personalities in hip-hop when it comes to public beef. They don't just react emotionally and move on. They archive everything. They wait for the right moments. They coordinate timing for maximum impact. Going against both of them simultaneously is a nightmare scenario for anyone.
I whisper to the nigga and say, tonight I want to see you use that gun.
You whisper that? The fuck is... Yo, man, can we get a timeout? This is...
We need a commercial break.
Let alone someone who keeps giving them ammunition. 50 Cent has already made it clear he's not letting up anytime soon. The posts keep coming, the jokes keep landing, and every time Jim responds, it just gives 50 more material to work with. It's a cycle that Jim can't seem to break out of no matter what approach he tries. Staying quiet doesn't work. Responding doesn't work. Nothing seems to slow down the momentum against him. Cam has decades of history with Jim and knows exactly where all the bodies are buried, metaphorically speaking. When someone who used to be that close to you decides to start talking, they have access to stories and moments that nobody else would know about. That's dangerous. That's the kind of exposure you can't prepare for because you never expected it to come out. Cam and Jim used to be brothers, used to be Dipset together, used to move as a unit. Now all of that history is being weaponized. So where does Maino fit in all of this? People close to the situation have been saying that Maino is frustrated. Not publicly beefing with Jim, not making statements or choosing sides, but quietly reassessing what makes sense moving forward. And that approach actually tells you a lot about how Maino operates. He's not the type to blow things up dramatically or air out grievances online. He's more likely to just create distance and let his moves speak for themselves. That's the Brooklyn in him.
We need a commercial break.
That's the craziest.
That's one of the craziest commercials I ever heard in my
Put
life.
the counter on.
Gun is a pause.
30-second commercial break.
I want to see you use that gun tonight as commercial break.
The question becomes whether Let's Rap About It can survive if Maino does decide to step back. On paper, it's Jim's platform too. But the reality is that Maino brings a certain balance to the show. He brings credibility that extends beyond street reputation into business circles. He brings a calmness that contrasts with Jim's more unpredictable energy. Without that balance, the podcast becomes something different entirely. It loses the dynamic that made it work in the first place. And there's the bigger picture for the Lobby Boys overall. This wasn't just about a podcast. This was supposed to be a movement, a collective of New York artists supporting each other and building together. Fab, Dave East, Jim, Maino, all moving as a unit with shared goals and shared resources. That vision feels further away right now than it has in years. The unity that was supposed to define them is cracking under the weight of one member's constant controversy. Because here's the thing about association in this industry. It matters more than people want to admit. When someone you're publicly connected to keeps taking losses and keeps creating controversy, people start looking at everyone in that circle differently.
Never sit him down. He came down out his house to try to disrespect me. And now he got to eat that when he's not mad. You want to remember this shit? I bet you do. Your friends are shaming you right now. Your friends are shaming you right now.
Fair or not, that's just how it works. Perception becomes reality in hip-hop faster than almost any other industry. Maino's name getting mentioned in every Jim Jones story isn't helping Maino. Fab getting brought up whenever people discuss the Lobby Boys drama isn't helping Fab. Dave East seeing his name attached to this chaos doesn't benefit him either. The whole situation creates a cloud that hangs over everybody involved, whether they participated in the drama or not. At some point, self-preservation becomes the priority, and nobody could fault Maino for making that choice if it comes to it. You can be loyal and still recognize when a situation has become toxic. The financial comparisons that keep circulating online don't help either. When people are posting net worth breakdowns and Jim's numbers are getting compared unfavorably to artists nobody expected him to be behind, that chips away at the image too. Money talk in hip-hop matters. The appearance of success is sometimes as important as actual success. When that appearance starts cracking, everything else gets questioned too. People start wondering what else isn't what it seems. What can Jim even do at this point to turn things around? That's the question nobody seems to have a good answer for. The narrative has taken hold. Every attempt to respond just extends the conversation. Staying quiet lets the jokes keep rolling without pushback. There's no clean path forward that anyone can identify right now. He's stuck in the worst possible position. And while Jim figures that out, or doesn't figure it out, everyone around him has to make their own decisions about proximity.
Because you're asleep behind the wheel? Sir, I was knocking on this door for a long time. I know you did, I know, but you were sleeping. You don't need to be reaching around, all right?
How close do you want to be to someone who has 50 Cent and Cam'ron both focused on exposing them? How long do you stand next to chaos before the chaos starts sticking to you? These are real questions that real people have to answer. Maino is a grown man with his own legacy and his own business interests to protect. Whatever decision he makes is going to be based on what makes sense for his situation specifically. Loyalty matters in hip-hop, but survival matters too. And sometimes those two things end up pointing in different directions. That's just the reality of the business. The next few weeks are going to be telling. If Maino starts appearing less on the podcast, or if the energy shifts noticeably, people are going to read into that immediately. If announcements come about changes to the show or the Lobby Boy structure, nobody is going to be surprised at this point. The groundwork for that has been laid by everything that's happened recently. What's wild is this all could have been avoided. The initial comments about 50's documentary weren't even that serious in the moment. But small choices lead to big consequences when you're dealing with people who don't let things slide. One decision created a chain reaction that's still playing out months later with no end in sight. One comment turned into a full-scale war. That's the lesson here for anyone paying attention. Be careful about the battles you start, because you can't always control where they end up. And be mindful about who you stay connected to, because their problems have a way of becoming your problems, whether you want them to or not.
What I thought, I was trying to tell you some real shit.
I thought, right, I was with you.
I don't know where that went.
You was venting, and I heard different music.
Now I was on the H, I don't know.
That was crazy. No, serious, let's bring it back.
He was on the brown.
Right, that was wild.
Association is everything. As for Maino specifically, The smart money says changes are coming. Maybe not today, maybe not publicly announced, but the trajectory here points towards separation. When staying together hurts more than walking apart, the outcome becomes inevitable. It's just a matter of timing and how gracefully it gets handled. The streets are definitely watching this situation closely. The podcast world is watching. Hip-hop as a whole is paying attention, and everybody has the same question on their mind that we started with. Is Maino really about to walk away from Let's Rap About It? Based on everything we've seen, the answer is looking more and more like yes. Now I need to hear from you. Drop your thoughts in the comment section right now. Do you think Maino should distance himself from all of this? Is the Let's Rap About It podcast done for good? And what do you think Jim Jones can even do at this point to fix the situation? Let me know your take. Subscribe if you haven't already and share this video with anyone who's been following this story. The drama isn't slowing down and neither are we. See you in the next one.